We should be live.
We're live.
Yay.
We're live. Nice. So you can now. We need some means for people to share this beautiful live stream anywhere and on all their pages and all over the world. And thank you to all the people that are already following us and watching us. Also, International Asexuality Day is there for us. We're missing one person, but I hope everything is okay with her and she'll maybe jump in at some point. So I think we can wait one more minute just to let people join in. Hello. So many people will say hello to us. Thank you. I woke up 1 hour ago. I'll have to admit it. Oh, so many people saying hi to us. I'm so happy.
Hello.
Hi. Well, I'd say we can start. So I'll start introducing it. This is ACES Never Sleep, the live stream we decided to do together after International Asexuality Day. I'm personally S from Rete Lettera, an Italian group, and we're just going to like chat among us, and it's going to be very chill because I wouldn't be able to do anything more than something chill because, as I said, I woke up 1 hour ago, and we decided to do this like that, just to talk to each other, make friends, and get to know each other. So there's not gonna be a specific host interviewing the others and asking questions to all of us, but it's gonna be whoever has a question can ask all the others or a specific country, if you please. So that's going to be like that. You can also write questions and interact with us in the comments, and you can do that in English if it's okay with you, but also in other languages we speak, and so we'll also say the other languages we speak. Unfortunately, we have no instant captions or instant translation, but after the event, we'll try to provide subtitles and translations, so you can ask a question and then you'll have the captions to your answer in, I hope, due time. So I'll say for first, we can just introduce ourselves and say which groups or activism projects we're in. And if you're fine with it, I'd suggest at least the introductions. We can do that in both English and our native language if we have another native language that is not English, as it is for most of us today. So I'm S. I'm from Rete Lettera, an Italian group for advocacy and visibility about asexuality and aromanticism. Salve a tutti, sono S e faccio parte di Rete Lettera, un gruppo italiano per la divulgazione e la sensibilizzazione su asessualità e aromanticismo. I'd like to give the word to Gemma.
Gemma.
I tried to do that in order not to have the silence after I stopped speaking, but it didn't work. So whoever wants to introduce themselves now can do that. I failed. I'm sorry. I tried.
I will go next. I'm Kate. I am from Australia, and I am an admin for Australian Asexuals, as well as a group called ACES. For Australian Asexuals, as well as
Sorry, sorry, it was a little bit choppy there. Did you?
Gemma's behind us, I think.
Were you going to me?
Yeah, she seems to be behind us in sound. Yeah, I'm from ACES.
My reception's a little bit rubbish. Yep, go Kate.
ACES is a local group in my local town, Canberra, which is the capital of Australia. So I do admin for both groups.
Okay, I can.
Yeah, okay. And so I
give me a minute, guys. I'm just going to change my Wi-Fi onto my phone because I'm having trouble hearing everyone. You guys keep.
And along with Gemma, I've been representing Australia for International Asexuality Day. So while she's dealing with her situation, that has thrown me a little bit because I have a little bit of neurological difficulty. So sometimes I might speak a little bit slow or a little bit behind because it can take me a moment. And I also apologize for eating my dinner. It's necessary for me to eat at meal times and not to skip meals. So, because of the time in other places, I'm having breakfast for dinner. So I have pancakes and hash browns, and I will enjoy them very much.
And they say Australians are not at all like the British. Well, you sure eat the same thing.
Well, it's from McDonald's, and McDonald's is everywhere. Except in Australia, we call it Macca's. Let's move on to Manita.
Hi guys, it's Manita from Nepal. Am I audible? I seem to be getting back my own voice.
That's better.
Okay. So I am the admin of the page Nepali Asexuals, and I started this page last August, and it's now been converted into a group which is pretty recent. And I'm so happy that in the last 7 months, we've reached this stage from like 0 to here. This is just the start, and I'm so glad because I didn't expect this much growth as well. And I'm like really happy to share. Now maybe Amy?
Okay. Hello everyone, I am Amy, also from Rete Lettera, as S and Fox were also present here. She already told what our group does, so I don't think I will need to be adding anything more to the introduction. Ciao, io sono Amy di Rete Lettera e faccio schifo con le presentazioni, quindi visto che è stato già detto cosa fare Rete Lettera, posso anche fermarmi qui. And I think I will pass the introduction to Estance.
Well, nice to hear your voice, Amy. Well, with Amy's one of she and letter S and Fox and stuff, like they're our friends from south, so well, a bit south, so it's nice. Yes, it's nice to see your faces. Well, everyone's like, I'm so happy and it's so cool. We've been working together, and we worked for so many hours at every time from like morning, nights, and all the time, and yeah. So I think we're all a bit exhausted by all the work we've done. I'm Estance. I use pronoun they. I'm with Association AVA in France. So, je fais partie de l'association AVA, Association pour la visibilité asexuelle principalement en France, à Paris, et on fait ce qu'on peut pour promouvoir la sexualité. And who hasn't talked yet? There is Martin and Fox. I don't know, whichever one of you wants to speak.
Yes, so hello, excuse me for the image that is probably frozen, but my internet is not well. I hope you hear me well. So I'm Martine. I have founded organization Asexual in Belgium, and we are doing activities in the whole of Belgium. So hallo allemaal, als jullie kijken in het Nederlands. Dus wij hebben in België een organisatie voor asexuelen. En wij zijn actief in heel Vlaanderen, dus ook in Wallonië. En hopelijk volgend jaar ook in het Duitse gedeelte. So that was it. My God. I hope you did hear it.
Hello everyone, I'm Fox. I use they them pronouns, and in languages where there are no neutral forms, I use he and she. I'm from Rete Lettera, from Italy, and my flag has decided that today it's not the day for her, like, okay. Ciao a tutti, sono Fox, uso i pronomi neutri in inglese, in italiano lei e lui, e la mia bandiera oggi ha deciso che non è giornata. I think, Gemma, you present yourself before?
Okay, so yeah, no, I can actually hear everyone, and no one's video is choppy at the moment, which is a good. So I'm Gemma, and I use she, her pronouns, and I created the Australian Asexuals Facebook group back in 2009. And along with Kate and a couple of others, we run that group. And I also am an admin for Oceania Asexuals and Asia Pacific Asexuals. And I'm also the dedicated research contact for the project, for AVEN's project team. And basically, yeah, I'm really into the advocacy side and education side of asexuality. And with Kate, we've been the two main Australian representatives for international asexuality. And like everybody else, we're all a little bit exhausted. But yes, that's me.
Okay, we have done the rounds of introductions, and if we have time, I think we should introduce also the event. Why the weird name, especially? It's kind of an it kind of deserves an explanation. So basically, while we were all talking and organizing IAD and this live stream in particular, we were finding that we were talking through the very different time zones. There is a difference of 9 to 10 hours from here in Europe to Australia, and we found out that we were replying to each other, but when it was like impossible times, midnight in Australia, 4 a.m. for us, or other combinations as such. And so the because of this inside joke of ACES never sleep was born, and it kind of stopped being a joke at some point and became real, and also became the name of this event, and the tagline, "A chat across space-time." It's simply because we are talking across the different time zones. That was kind of a Doctor Who reference. Great for everyone who noticed that I'm a nerd. And so yeah, there is I wanted to why am I saying I? The proposal was to emphasize the fact that IAD is this marvelous cooperation of people from all across the world. Doesn't matter if you're talking with someone who's having breakfast and for you it's late at night. Doesn't matter the distance, and I don't know. Sorry, I always get kind of moved when I remember this. I really like this aspect of the cooperation in IAD. So for the first round of questions, I wanted to ask who wants to be the first to answer the first question.
What was the first question again?
I have yet to make it. So the first question I wanted to ask everyone here very briefly is, do you sleep? We have to solve this mystery.
I'll answer. I tried to sleep this night because I was like, okay, I have to go to sleep at a decent time because tomorrow I'm having the live stream with all the other people and I don't want to look like death. And I couldn't sleep. But yes, I sleep a bit, but not that much. I think one of the moments I liked the most about International Asexuality Day was when Estance wrote to us a very long message explaining something, and then in the end said, okay, now I'm going to sleep because it's 6 a.m. here. And that was the moment Kate kind of freaked out because she was like, why are you awake at 6 a.m.? And we and Amy were like, well, it's 6 a.m. as well here and we're awake as well. And I think that was the moment of truth that made us realize we just, I don't know, never sleep. Kate once wrote to me and asked me, are you awake now? Do you have 2 minutes right now to talk about something? I was like, it's 5 a.m. here. Why should it be awake? Of course I am awake. So the answer is, I'm not sure I sleep anymore. I might have forgotten what that means. Do we give the word to someone else so we don't jump all over someone? So if someone doesn't want to answer this question, just do like this, and I won't give the word to you. Estance.
I manage a good 3 hours like every day or so. I'm very proud of myself. No, I did like 3 hours or so for like 2 weeks prior to Tuesday. And I said, okay, Tuesday at like 2 a.m. I said, okay, it's not over. There's all the things like I wanted to check out the event in South America and stuff, but like, no, I'm gonna sleep until Australia goes to Australia wakes up. And so I did that, and I woke up like at 8 p.m. last night, and then I went back to bed at 2 a.m. So I'm like so well rested and completely not tired no more. And I hope I can sleep like a good 6 hours from now on. Yeah, Manita, your schedule is so full. You have so much thing you do. Like, I don't know how you manage it. Like, I'm in awe of all you do.
Thank you so much. Actually, I felt like I had to do all of this jam pack thing because I was like super excited. Everything was all, in the process of being done. And IAD came at just a special time because everything was already backlogged, and we just found this platform at the right time. So without deadlines, nothing comes actually to fruition. So with the deadline set that 6th of April, we're gonna do this till 6th of April. So like everything got added on to the list. And it felt overwhelming, but in a good way. I mean, I like pressure while working, so it was good that way. And like you said, yesterday, thank God we shifted this program to 8th, because seriously, we would have been zombies if we had done it on the same day, I guess. And yesterday was the day I caught up sleep. So yesterday I slept at 9 p.m. and because of that, I woke up at 4 a.m. I had no work to wake up at 4 a.m. But I got up at 4 a.m. and I didn't know what to do. So I checked out all the notifications on Instagram, and it's been like ringing nonstop since IAD. There's so much more traction and like so much more interaction there. People are resharing and reposting. It fills my heart with joy that thank God this is happening and so much is coming. All the efforts are not going to waste. So yeah, this is like really, really good. Plus, you guys remember this? I've been like keeping it in front because I'm like so excited about this. I wanted to talk about it, but afterwards, I guess. So let's just talk about how much we sleep right now. Kate, how's your dinner? I'm sorry I got at the wrong moment. Anyone else wants to talk about how much we don't sleep?
I will. I got it first. Yeah, I mean, because Kate and I are on such different time zones to pretty much everyone else in this live stream, it's very much been a matter of it goes quiet when it's Kate and me at nighttime, and the IAD chat is quiet because most of the people are not in the oceanic time zone within, a couple of hours of us. So I mean, there's been a number of times where Kate and I have been up at 2 o'clock in the morning, or I've been up at 7 trying to see whether or not getting something organised. And I mean, the amount of sleep that I normally get isn't great, but I'm just, and I don't have my kid with me at the moment. He's at his dad's. So instead of having to go to sleep at 11 because he will wake up at 7, I'm 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, whatever, just kind of whenever I need to get it done. And then it's like, I should probably sleep in this morning. Then brain wakes up at 8 and just like, you need to sleep. And it was really nice not to have the Australian event on IAD at night, because it meant I didn't have to get up at crazy o'clock to do our thing to try and, get it done. So it's good to be able to sleep properly now.
Yay! I unmuted myself. I'm a kind of a weird story, because I've been I was a terrible insomniac for like 15 years, and very 2 hours sleep a night, that was my whole life, because I have chronic fatigue syndrome and fibromyalgia. So chronic fatigue syndrome and insomnia, which doesn't sound like they could coexist, and yet they did. But so before Gemma came along, I was the only person really from Australia who was working on IAD, and the others would say, is it okay? Are you okay to go to do this meeting or whatever? And I'd be like, the meetings are all at 4 a.m., but that's okay. I'm not asleep at 4 a.m. anyway, so I may as well be the person doing this. It doesn't really matter. And there was talk about or maybe we should have meetings at different times, but I was like, you can't have meetings that are at a time convenient for me when I'm the only person. There was, when we had someone from Japan, then we tried, they were the closest to us. But then recently, I've just been put on a brand new medication to make me actually not be an insomniac. So I'm at the moment the one that's sleeping the most. And I've been going to bed on time, nice and sensibly, and are under doctor's orders to go to sleep at 1 o'clock. And so the others have been having conversations at night, and I wake up at a nice sensible hour, and there's been 247 messages in my absence. And it's a weird alien experience to me. Except on the actual day of IAD, when I was like, I'm definitely going to bed at midnight now. It's happening. I'm totally going to bed. And then I was on Twitter till 4 a.m. Like, oh my God, this is so great. Everyone's so happy. This is the most amazing experience ever. That was great. I couldn't get off Twitter. Even though I had to work the next day, I was just so excited to see how happy people were.
That's so cute.
Oh,
on IAD, I wanted to wake up early to join all the events all across the world, but I overslept. That was the day I overslept.
It was fun being the
Sorry, Martin, did you? Yeah.
First. Is Martine here?
Yes, I'm here. I'm listening to you. I'm closing my tabs because my image is always frozen. So in a minute, I will put my camera again on.
So can I move on and ask another general question? But since we're doing this, I think we are the first event for IAD that is after IAD. I'm not sure about that, but I'm sure we are the only live stream, international live stream that comes after IAD. I wanted to ask you, in your respective countries, how did IAD go this year? Were you happy? Were there something you didn't want, you hoped would go better, or something that you thought, oh, damn, I should have done that as well? So I won't start. I'll just drop the question, and then we should try to decide on a method, because I want to give the word to someone else, in order to avoid silence. But maybe someone doesn't want to answer this, so just like I give the word to Manita, but if Manita doesn't want to answer, she can give back to someone else.
I'm ready. I'm ready. No need to cross my hands. So yeah, so it was like a very good experience. I didn't really have any bad experience about it. Maybe because many people, or let's say not enough people, know about asexuality in Nepal. I guess I've been saying, I think I've been saying quite a lot. I feel like everyone knows that by now. So the main thing was that we were able to do the first ACE meet in Nepal, in Bali at least, and the first virtual meet as well. And it was the first time that asexuality was ever talked about in a national newspaper, or any newspaper for that matter. So it was all positive in my view, because people haven't replied anything negative till now. I've been waiting and I've been scared that like maybe someone will say something that will like make my blood boil. But no, so far none. And I'm like so blessed and so happy that the queer society as well as the non-queer people have all been positive till now. I hope we are able to take this even more forward every year, every ACE, every IAD coming in the coming years. And the meaning was that before this, none of the ACEs in the group felt like a group. And I know it's not just me, but everyone else. We've been like only chatting and talking on Instagram, and it was just Instagram page and Instagram group chat. So that's how it was, because it's so recent. But finally, when we met, and finally when we had this virtual meet, it finally felt like family. And I'm like so blessed that everyone's there, and I'm like so glad to have found all of you, the extended family, and all of them. So it's like such a good thing. Plus, we were able to manage to finally get this logo. We had been planning since like I think it's been 5 months, but we weren't available because all of us have so much work to do on our own, and I don't know, maybe it's the ACE thing or not. We are like super focused on productivity. I don't know, we take on too many things all at once. I don't know if it's all of us, but like the ones of us who were trying to do it, we were like doing so many things at once. So it was really difficult to come to the conclusion, but finally we came to this, and I absolutely, I'm like shameless. I was saying I really, really love it. Thank you, Nirdesh Sapkota, my fellow ace. I love you. This is all because of you, and like giving the credit you deserve. So I don't know what to ask to whom, because I was so busy with all of this, I wasn't able to keep up with all of the activity that was going on around the world. I've been like super crazy, dropping in and out of all of the programs, hopping. So anyone wants to carry on, feel free.
I will. Well, I mean, I'm one of the people that moderates the Twitter account for IAD. So I didn't, and also the TikTok, and also the YouTube. So like I was really focused a lot on the actual IAD. I was doing a lot of things for IAD as an organization. And so I wasn't really focused a lot on what was happening in Australia itself, because I was focused more on the global thing that was happening. But because Australia was ahead in terms of time zone, it was kind of happening here first. So I was kind of seeing what was happening in Australia and how things were picking up on Twitter and on TikTok, and that was quite cool, being able to like, oh, okay, yes, this is going really well. People are using the hashtag. People are using the hashtag in a happy way. Like, this is genuine ACE people using the hashtag, it's not full of abuse that I have to moderate. This is fantastic. And being able to like give that feedback to the rest of the social media team. And yeah, seeing that it was going well in Australia and hoping that was going to be momentum that was going to carry on and pick up through everywhere else. And that was so exciting. But yeah, I didn't really see a lot of what was happening in Australia, and I wasn't really able to like go be in my local Australian groups or like celebrate with people until the Australian event that we had at the end of the day, where I basically just played games with the others because I really needed to de-stress. But I think Gemma might have seen more of what was happening in Australia.
So I'm the one who has been running the Facebook, and I didn't see that much, mainly because I was like Kate, focused on the global IAD thing. And I, even though I'm not from every other state in Australia that has a group, I'm a member of every other state that has a group. And I spent a lot of my energy letting everybody know what was going on. And I threw Poopy from Argentina a curveball when I went, we need to have a schedule because we need to know when things are on, so that people knew like, okay, I can actually attend that. And I didn't realize that I could because I'm from X country and that's in Y country. And so I was like, oh, cool idea. And she's like, no, the last second. So, I mean, I went to attend to other things, but I was mainly focusing on sharing everything that was going on. And because basically I think we've got about 7 or 8 other Australian state-based groups. And so after sharing half a dozen to a dozen of the events in every single place on every single page, I'm like, I just can't. So like Kate, I used our event that was at the end of the day, which was the first event, one of the first events up, to unwind, and had some really awesome conversations with Estance and Marcus, who's one of our lovely viewers in here, and a bunch of Aussies. And honestly, it was really awesome, and it was really good to just hang out and not have to run it because it was just everybody talked at once, and we shared Aussie things, and Estance and Marcus shared French and German stuff, and we talked topics that you probably wouldn't, talked about World Wars and the EMU War and history stuff, but also about how Australia bastardizes Austrian and German dishes and wildlife that bite you, and and it was good to de-stress. But as far as what happened with Australia, a lot of Aussies were really excited with things that I shared on Facebook, and there was a Kate and one of our other reps, Kerry, were on did a little segment on a podcast, and we didn't get a lot of media requests or anything like that from outsourcers, but the Australians that were involved with stuff were really, really thrilled that we had our own day. And the Twitter went mental, and it trended. The Twitter tag trended in half a dozen to a dozen countries, and that's when I kind of went, oh my God, this is really happening. This is like people are paying attention, people are noticing, and that's kind of when I went, oh, this is our little thing, and look what we did, and look how we created and made this thing happen. And it was awesome to see. And even though Twitter is not my specialty. It's more Kate's end of things. I mean, it was really awesome to see it trend in multiple countries. Yeah, so. I'm not sure who else wants to speak. Astance, did you want to have a go?
Sure, yeah. Poopy, they did so much work. It's like every time I think like, okay, yeah, so it's Kate or Gemma doing the most, and then Poppy comes in, and then all the people like, hi, Jen, you're right. Oh well, and let you talk then. Hi, so you can say hello.
Jan, or I'm not sure if your name is pronounced Jan. You can introduce yourself if you want, since you.
Hi, everybody. Okay, my name is Jan. I'm from Nigeria. I'm not sure what to say. So, hi, thanks for having me again.
Thank you for coming. And we were now answering the question, a very general question about how the IAD went for us this year, what we liked, what maybe we thought, oh, damn, I should have done it differently. So if you want, you can answer, you can come in at any time. And we're doing it like this, that we answer the question. If we want, we say we don't want to answer, like doing it like this, or writing in the chat if we don't want to answer. And after we have spoken, we give the word to someone else in order to avoid the silent moments in which no one knows if they can jump in or not. So you can answer now to this question if you want, or not. But go.
Oh, I think we can continue. I'll talk when I feel like I have something to say. Yeah.
So back to Astance.
Yeah, Jan, or is it Jan or Jen? Never mind. Anyway, I saw your article in Love Matters, and that was awesome and great. And so I wanted to say that I was a bit fangirling over here. It was great to read your article. We were one of the countries where AID didn't trend on Twitter and stuff. It's also maybe because I didn't focus a lot of energy on making French stuff happen. And I mean, we did like a 20 minutes long introduction of asexuality video in French, and that took like so much time to make, and mostly like the script and the captions, and like, oh, so much time. But I think like my hope when I do activism for asexuality in France is like mostly reaching people who are ace and don't know about it, and who are suffering in their corners. So that's what I try to focus on, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. And hopefully it gets better over time, and we'll see. Yeah. Martin showed up at the small live stream we did on Tuesday evening, and that was nice to have the neighbors come by. Someone wants to talk?
I think it comes to Italy now. Yes, I really like this comment, so I put it on. It's Italy's turn because Martin is trying to restart the computer. So I was very, very happy with IAD in Italy. We did, in the comments, people were talking about doing 24-hour live stream next year, and that it would be a logistic nightmare, and that's why people is talking about spreadsheets and how many spreadsheets we'll need to organize that. Or the discussion was many spreadsheets or one gigantic spreadsheet that combines all the sub spreadsheets. I think as Rete Lettera, we may be able to contribute a bit to the organization of this logistic nightmare, because we didn't do a 24-hour live stream, because we're not like, for a single nation that would be like maybe too much. But we did a live stream this year that lasted 3.5 hours with 12 people invited, because we thought like internationally the point of IAD was solidarity and celebration of all the differences and variety inside the community. And so we thought, what can we do to like repeat that inside our country? And so we decided to do this live stream about intersectionality, and we invited many different activists, and in like 20 to 30 minutes for each, we discussed the specific intersection of asexuality, and so our activism, with their activism. So we had like reproductive rights, disability, neurodiversity, bisexuality, intersexuality, and many others. And that was very, very, very interesting and very useful. And I think some of the things we discussed may be useful for many people. And so we are going to do the captions in Italian, and I hope we have time as soon as possible to do them in English as well. So other people, if they want, they can also translate it, because I think that can be useful, especially the reproductive rights and the sexuality and inclusivity in reproductive and sexual health services can be very useful. So I was very happy. After that, I did another live stream with another association who wanted to talk about asexuality. I don't know how the hell that came to my mind, because like I had to have dinner in 10 minutes, because that was crazy. So like, I'm very happy. If I have to say something I regret, there wasn't many, not many people talked about it in the press, also the queer LGBTQ press. And I regret that, because it's kind of my fault, because another person from Rete Lettera had wrote a text to send to journalists, and I had to revise that, and I had no time, because it was like, oh, there's so much thing to do. And so afterwards, I thought, okay, that was a thing we should have done. So next year, I'm going to pay extra attention to that, because I think it's very important that people talk about IAD in also journals that are not ACE specific. I'm sorry, you probably, I'm not sure, you probably hear my chair that sounds like a bird, and I can't avoid that. I'm very sorry. So, is Martin back? Yes. Martin, do you want to answer the question about how IAD went this year? I hope your computer is working better now.
My image is still frozen, I see, but I restarted my computer. So maybe there was a new question, I think, in the meantime, when I shut down.
I'm not sure, maybe Amy wanted to add something for Italy, or maybe not, because I talked that much, I'm not sure.
No, not really. I didn't do much for this IAD. I was just spectating the things that happened and witnessing the organization. I was just there looking at people do things and being in awe or of the others. And I just want to add the perspective of, like, I had university work that is really weighing on me, so I didn't have the time and energy to really dedicate myself to IAD this year. But I just wanted to add that witnessing the organization of IAD, all the moving parts, all the contribution from people, all the yes, yes, it is. All the contributions from people, all the effort, and I've never seen anything quite like that. And I don't know, this it's pointless to talk about it because if you're not in the IED organization server, I'm talking about something that wasn't seen, but the unseen part is the the amount of work, the amount of effort on the part of everyone, the amount of coordination, and the amount of spreadsheets to accommodate that. It really get lost in all the Google documents, and I don't know. That is something that it's awesome in itself, how everything worked, and how intense the work to make everything work was.
About the journalist thing, I wanted to say that we have a group of a small group of French ACE journalists who are members of the Queer Journalists Association in France, and they released how to about asexuality for journalists in French, and we'll and as we're friends, we'll see about how it can be replicated in other country, other languages, working with queer journalists or associations, and and that's so exciting. And but I agree that reaching out to journalists doesn't really often works out. Ooh.
I don't know if anyone wanted to say more about this, or if you have any also questions. I had other general questions and questions also for specific countries, but I think Italy posed like most, if not all, the questions. So I'll give some minutes if you have any questions you wanted to ask to the others or any other specific countries. Your hair is beautiful. How do you do your hair is not a question because we already answered that before the live stream. I won't say about who, but it's clearly not about my hair because my hair doesn't look very good. Because
I have noticed I'm the odd one out here. Everyone's hair is much darker than mine, but that's just an offhand anyway.
well, then I'm going on with questions. If it's okay with you, I had two specific ones. One is for Nepal and one is for Australia. The question for Nepal, Manita, you showed the new logo of Nepali asexuals, and like I loved that. And I wanted to ask you more how the process. You said it took 5 months. I wanted to ask you why the design and how you decided on that. You can show it since you had that here, or I can show it on Instagram, but it's really better if you do that.
Yeah, I do have it. It's a sticker version of the logo. So this is the logo we came up with. I hope it comes the correct way. It's not the opposite way, right? So this is the logo we came up with, and it took months for us because we actually weren't sure what would be the exact representation for ACEness as well as Nepaliness, and we were scared to make something that would be problematic in some area or anything like that, because we didn't want it to be anything religious. We didn't want it to touch any caste or class of people. We just wanted to be accessible and like relatable to everyone. So the thing we were sure about was that we wanted ace colors, obviously. So the colors had to be there. That was the easiest part, but everything else was really difficult to figure out. So it took months for us, and it was in one way good that Nidishta, one from our group, she actually is good at this. She's a graphic designer and she knows how to do this stuff. So she was like, yeah, it's my forte, I'm gonna do it. But she's been like so busy with work and everything, so we didn't know what to do. So we talked about so many ideas as to what should the logo should be, but we couldn't come up with one. I did quickly think about the idea of logo being a mandala. I don't know if you guys know much about mandalas, but it's incorporated in our culture pretty well. But it is a little bit more it touches more of Hinduism and Buddhism. So we decided against it finally. Otherwise, we were kind of thinking of making it a mandala with these colors. But in the end, we came up with this flower pattern. It looks like just another flower, but actually it's rhododendron, and it's the national flower of Nepal. And we colored it up into ace colors. And frankly, like I said, it's the first year and the first time that we're having a meet, and it's being talked about in papers. So obviously, aromanticism is something like literally like no none of the people talk about, even in queer spaces. Some people have heard about asexuality, but aromanticism people don't even talk about here. So we didn't want others to be left out. Since ACES and arrows not exclusively are like side to side, but they are pretty closer. So we decided, yeah, we should actually represent our colors as well. In the future, if it changes into something else, if some other organization with specific arrow representation comes up, we would like gladly support them. But till then, I just thought that it's best to incorporate both the colors, and it went pretty well, with the leaves and all. So rhododendron leaves are just like that, and the flower is in its colors. And we didn't want the words, because Nepali asexuals is in English, and mostly because all of the online activity that we have and the text that we send and the general language is in English. We don't really type in Nepali. We not commonly. We don't converse much in the font Nepali. So we had come up. I had made a page named Nepali Asexuals, which in Nepali doesn't sound correct. So I flipped the word. So it's like asexual Nepali in Nepali, ionic Nepali, but matches in our language. So I wanted both of it. And the colors that are in the name, in the font, it's the mix of colors that our national flag has. So our national flag has red and blue colors with white. So we decided that it could be a gradient from blue to red. And yeah, that's about it.
You put so much thought in it. That way I'm feeling like we have to change the lettera logo, because I feel underdressed now because so we had a question actually. I saw. Thank you, Gemma, for pointing it out. Mariah's comment is a question actually. So I'm gonna put it on screen. I forgot. Okay, I'm gonna put it back on screen. How do you meet other ACEs? And it's gone again. I don't know why. Sorry. Whoever wants to answer.
Maybe I can answer it because my internet is now a bit better. So 2 years ago, 2 years ago, I organized some meetups. I started to do some meetups. So I was alone. I didn't know anybody here. And first, so I put it on meetup.com, and 2 people of Holland went to that first meeting. And then I kept on organizing activities, and more people came and came and came. And then last year, we had an organization put up, an official one for asexuals. And still every week now, even up to this day. Every week people are coming and finding us. So that is actually how we meet people. Now it's more online chats that we organize. But as soon as the pandemic is gone or the situation is better, then I will meet ACES in different regions. So I organize that, and it's in the whole of Belgium. So that's how I meet real people. And what is strange is, even now I'm organizing 1 year online chats, and some people are coming like 6 times, 7 times. So after a while, even you haven't met the people in person, you already feel a connection with them. So that's very strange, but fantastic actually. So yeah, that's my part, how I do meet ACES.
It's
I
really
feel like for me, it's the same thing. Oh, okay. Okay, I feel like it's almost the same thing for me. Because of the pandemic, we had to have a lot of virtual hangouts. And when you meet one asexual person, they introduce you to the other asexual person. And before you know it, you know a lot of aces. So I guess that's how it has been for me. Yeah.
Australia is a really interesting place structurally because it is so big and not very big in population. So it's quite hard to, like, America is a big place, but there's a lot of people there. So, you know, you can have New York ACES, which is a huge organization, but we have each of these little organizations in each major city, and most of them are, you'd maybe get to an in-person meet when you have them. I know in Canberra, which is not a big city at all, we get like sometimes 25, 30 people to a meet. And some of the big cities with over 1 million population, they're like, wow, you get 30 people coming to a meetup? That's amazing. So yeah, each little individual city is so small, but they're all spaced out from each other. So it's not really easy for us to gather a lot of people together to one meetup. So we have to do a lot of online connecting with each other. So we do tend to have all of these people they're all members of their little local group, and they're also members of the larger Australian Asexuals group. So it is, in a sense, you're kind of part of two communities at the same time, which is great. And it's another way of meeting other people, and it also puts you in a good place. Like, I've had someone who had to move away from Canberra, and so they're moving to another city, and I'm able to say, well, hey, that's great. Like, I can automatically, here's a group that you can go straight into, that you're going to meet other asexual people. So it's fantastic to have that kind of network across the whole country where people can automatically have some people that they know are going to be supportive of them and be part of their community.
So on an extension from Kate, she's right. I mean, because basically the capital cities for Australia are all on the coasts except for Canberra, basically, and it's in the middle of my state. So Kate and I are probably our ACE communities live the closest together as far as capital cities are concerned anyway, because it's about a 3-hour drive to Kate's place. Whereas it's a 10 to 12-hour drive from Sydney, where I live, to either of the bigger states, north and south. So having an interstate meet is virtually impossible, except if somebody goes, hey, I'm going to come to your meet, and they make a special trip to come over, because driving 12 hours for the meet isn't terribly feasible. But I mean, I first connected up with the asexual community back in 2006. And back then, obviously no pandemic, much smaller group. The best amount of people that we got back then was probably about 15 to 20 at a meet, and we used to have them every month. And then I was out of the asexual scene for a number of years, and I haven't been to a face-to-face meetup since I came back and really got more involved with the advocacy and education side of things. But online meetups, we had our Aussie ACE week, and we got some really good numbers of people coming in and meeting ACES that never spoken to before, and having a games night and a couple of panels. And we really realized, because that was late October last year, that we'd all been, not doing face-to-face meetups because of the pandemic, and we were able to exactly. And we were actually able to connect and meet up, and we did our Aussie ACE week all online, and it was really good. And I mean, we also, as far as Sydney is concerned, two of our lovely ACES, Elise and Amy, have organised Mardi Gras for a number of years. And for those that aren't aware, our Mardi Gras is actually the Sydney Gay and Lesbian Mardi Gras, so it is the LGBTQIA community's Mardi Gras. And so we had about 17 people attend this year, and we were the 20th float out of 130. So we actually got screen time, because normally we're smushed between two major company floats. And I had my son with me, and they actually zoomed in on him because he was incredibly adorably waving his little ACE coloured ribbons, and they commented about how it was really nice to see family represented. And it was really awesome to see that they'd actually picked up on us, because we often get missed in the broadcast. So I met a lot of the ACES that I've talked to online face-to-face for the first time there. I mean, Kate and I go back a long time. We've been friends for a very long time, completely unrelated to asexuality, actually. But it's been good being able to reconnect with everybody, particularly even given the current, climate with the pandemic and stuff. But we do get a lot of...
The pandemic, in a way, was kind of... It sort of was
a blessing?
So, no, I wouldn't say that. But like Aussie ACE Week happened because of the pandemic, nobody could organise like meetup events in their own individual cities. We couldn't all meet up for ACE Week, have our events, and then somebody said, well, why don't we have virtual events? And then we all decided, let's have virtual events that can suit the whole country. We can all go to the same events. And then that was kind of the point where we realised, actually, you know what, we don't really interconnect as groups. We don't know what... No, we don't. Canberra doesn't know what Melbourne is doing. And maybe we need to actually have more interaction between the different groups. And now we do have that. Now we have a Discord server where, if somebody writes a letter to their local member of parliament, and that works to get whatever it is they want, then they can say, here's the text that I used. If you want to write to your member of parliament, this is how I had success. So we're able to share these things now, and we hadn't been doing that before. And I think because we had that Aussie ACE week that we had to have because we couldn't meet up in person, that's actually made us connect more across the country, which has been a really valuable thing to do.
It has. I mean, like we basically made... We had 4 panels, and we sourced people from all over the country because we wanted to make sure that our friends in WA were able to attend. And at that point, because we're on daylight savings, we had 4 time zones. 4 time zones, Kate? 4 time zones?
5 time zones.
Five time zones when normally Australia... So it was trying to make sure that everybody was included and that we at least had things on that they could attend. So WA, at that point, was the other side of the country. They were 3 hours behind me and Kate, and we were like, no, we have to have something that they can attend, because they always get left out of everything. A lot of things are always East Coast, and they're always left to and no one goes, oh, who cares about WA? Which is, WA is awesome, and everybody really worked together to make it a really collaborative effort. And it worked awesomely, really, because we got to know people we would never have touched base with if we just stayed in our our own little state communities. And having it online, we had the Zoom chats, and then we had like a meetup, we had a games night, we had trivia, we had like a range of things that people could choose to attend, and we got a lot of people. Like, for what we thought we would have, we didn't know, but we made some really awesome friends out of it. I'm not sure who else wants to answer the question. My answer was a little bit long and stuff.
I wanted to add a thing because I think I really related to what Jan said about this fact of that ace people are kind of like a club. Like once you know one, you start to know like everyone else. It's a domino effect in a way, and I think our association Lettera kind of started in this way. Like there were um, people, the new people, and we started with like 5 people Discord server, and then everyone was like, "Oh, I can invite that person, I can invite that other person," and before you realize it, the size of your group has tripled in less than a year, and we are right into even more people and activists and whatnot. In this sense, uh, I don't want to link it to the pandemic per se. It's just that lockdown accelerated a lot of process of virtualization, and or I don't know how to call it, like the fact that everybody's on is on social media, is on the internet now even more than before, and so being that in Italy as activism is all done on social media currently, or most of it. We don't really have live groups at the moment, and of course, since Lettera is younger than a year at the moment, we never even had the possibility to do it for now. But yeah, so we kind of took the net part of the network, like the name of our association, Rete Lettera. Rete means net, and that's what we're trying to do currently, to keep contact with the many other organizations, be them city groups, be them influencers, um, be them other online activist groups. And that is a way that we actually I think we were really successful in connecting, in doing this work of connecting. So connecting with other ACES, with connecting with either ACE people in other LGBTQ organizations, ACE people around Italy. Really think that trying to achieve this kind of visibility online really helps people to find someone else, to connect with someone, to relate with someone, and then of course once you make contact with one ACE person, they will introduce you to the club, basically.
Yeah, the pandemic for me was like the most awful nightmare, because I started doing activism a very long time ago, much before there was any social medias and stuff. So I wasn't trained in social media stuff and everything. I was told, like, you organize a place, you put up posters, and and you go to places, and you tell people about the thing. You go to people's organization, and so that was how I learned how to do activism. So when I joined Ava in 2015. I got in touch with Ava in 2015. It didn't exist anymore, and me and another person, we took it back, and we tried to put things together. And the first thing I did, I said we had to do was go to Pride, because that's activism. I know, you make like buy paint and fabric, and you make a huge thing, and then you make up slogans, and you yell the slogans. Like the one that had the most success was cake, chocolate cake, but in French. And And so that's what I did. And the pandemic hit, and I'm like, oh no, I don't know how to do internet things. I don't even have a smartphone. I know I cannot do this. But now I know how to do captions on YouTube, so I'm very proud of myself. And yeah, and I don't think it changed much, because in France the culture is really like in-person meetings, and at least that's what I know. And there's a whole other section of stuff that is on the internet. There's a huge Discord, there's a big forum, and stuff. I'm not on those platforms because I really don't like it. But I know they exist, but it's not visible in the public spaces. So it has a different kind of impact, and the impact is mostly towards younger people who have internet access and smartphones and stuff. And I try to think that not everyone has that kind of access. And we need to make sure that we have events that are accessible to people, and that includes people who are not in Paris. So in previous years, we tried to organize small meetups to go to March together, to go to the Pride together, or just meet in cafes and stuff in other places in Paris. Yeah. Now I have internet skills. Oh, I try to have internet skills, but I do not like it. This is not natural. You know, I would much rather just go back to marching in the streets. I know you can't do that in every country, but in France, like that's the tradition. That's what we do. Yeah.
There's another questions in the comment. I fear we lost Jan, and I'm so sad about that. I hope she can get back to the live stream. And saying hi to Asexual from Vietnam, who said hi to us. And if you want to jump in, just write to our email, retelettera.a@gmail.com. We'll probably write it down in the comments. Like, there's a slot for you, so you can come. And there's another question in the comments I saw. Who wants to answer about this?
It is way too early, and I am way too tired to think about that.
No, in Belgium, we don't have any ideas yet either. It's indeed for us also too early now.
I think this is going to be the fastest round of questions.
But as a ballpark idea, we probably would do panels again, I think. Don't you think, Kate?
I would think so. They went really well.
I mean, it's we're April and we're looking at October. I mean, Kate, how long
did we have to organise ACE Week?
Kate, how long before ACE Week did we actually start planning our ACE Week?
Well, we did it in less than 3 weeks.
You're on mute, sweetheart.
No, I'm not. I'm not muted. How am I muted?
We started planning about a month beforehand. We probably needed more time, but it was very last minute, and
less than 3 weeks.
Threw it together.
Less than 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think it would be great to have international.
I think it was about a month. Yeah, okay, I was being generous. So it's way too early, you know. We're gonna do it. You're gonna put the pressure on. You were muted when I asked.
I think
I'm not sure, really. I think we'll discuss that very
international one would be good.
later on. Yeah.
At least we have practice in it now, in coordinating international things.
Okay, I think doing something international would be nice. That's a good idea. We never thought of that actually before, but it's a good idea. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm not talking about Lettera. I'm talking for me. As I said, I regret a bit not being able to reach out to journalists a bit more. Although I agree it can be not very useful sometimes, but we can try, and I'm probably going to try. But no, I have no idea what we're going to do for Ace Week now.
I mean, it's not like we have to invent hot water every time. We can just do the same thing, and new people will come. You know, it's. I think it's not so much like what we do, but how we. Where do we try and make information visible about the event? And so something for ID that I pushed for was that we be present on social media that are not used like VK. So I don't do much for the social media, but I'm admin for the VK group, and so that's mostly Russian. And but those people exist and they're there. They just don't communicate with the rest of the other social media. Like they're not on Facebook, they're on VK. And I think the next step is we go on Weibo and stuff, and we're gonna try and do that. And I think that's the same thing in France. So it's sad, but doing press media stuff is the way to reach older generations. And we do get a lot of feedback every time we go on TV, on the radio, and so we try to do that a bit. But we have but then people contact us and they're like, "Oh, can we go to meetings or stuff?" And so we have to have both those things organized. Yeah. Oh my God, we have World Pride coming up. We have to do that as well. So much work. Someone else talk.
We had other questions in the. I think we all answered this. All the countries answered this question. Tell me I'm wrong
Yeah, I
while
want to
I look
answer
for the
it.
question.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
sorry.
haven't really, it's okay. I haven't really said the answer because there's not much to say. Like I said, there's so much left to be done. But I think the thing that we're planning for the coming Ace Week is to spread it more than how it is. Now, we only have an Instagram page because I'm the only one who's been doing it till now. So there was no group and it was just me posting a bunch of Ace stuff on a page. So that's how it's been till now. And now that we have a group, it's just a dozen people, but it's a dozen more than there was. So I'm like happy about it. So we are planning on it's just in the early phase, but we're planning on shifting making an official website because like Aston said, everyone is not on social media, and so website is a little bit more accessible for more people. And after saying that, I actually wanted to ask a question. Is it okay if I ask a question? So I'm like probably the newest person on this like activism scale here. So I wanted advices from you guys as to how it would be more. I mean, like, yeah, cultural differences will be there, but according to your experiences, what are the ways that we can make more impact on people, let more people know about asexuality? And because where I am, even aces don't know that asexuality is a thing. So even aces don't know that they're it's okay to be how we are. Even they don't even know that it's okay to be us. So that's where we are. It's pretty backwards, I know, but that's the starting point. So I started from Instagram because that was the most easy and accessible for me. I couldn't even switch it to Facebook. I tried once, but I just couldn't because the amount of people that are on Facebook and the amount of fake pages that there are, and the word asexuality is used in such a negative way. So I couldn't even gravitate towards the name and the page, or spam and unnecessary things that I thought I couldn't handle just to preserve my mental health. So I formed a group, but it was private and I couldn't even make it public because I literally knew that it wouldn't be safe for me to talk about asexuality on Facebook, given the kind of people and amount of accounts that are there on Facebook. Instagram is a little bit more shielded because not everyone uses Instagram. So I started from there, but now we're in a place where we should grow. So I have like no clue. I just wanted a little bit of advice from you guys, like how I could improve my activism virtual as well as in real life. And the question first goes to Gemma. Then you can like everyone can answer.
I think this is a probably Kate and me duo question, probably. Probably easiest to cover the Australian thing with the two of us.
Are we separate people? No, we're the same person.
No. They're just two sides of the same coin.
Single entity, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I as I said, I came out as ACE many years ago because a friend of mine was an admin on Avon and we swapped notes about moderating, and I went, oh, okay, that's that. So my trip to finding asexuality is probably different to a lot of the more people who found their asexuality in the last 10 years using social media, whereas this was when Avon had maybe 10,000 people on it at most, and now it's got 100 and something thousand. Like, it's crazy. So, I mean, I basically, there wasn't anything on the internet, on Facebook, to do with for Australian asexuals at all. And I just went, you know what? There's nothing on here. I'm going to make it. So I did. And to start off with, we had, God, maybe 10, 20 people. And as people got on Facebook and they joined in and they found it, and I shared the hell out of it on Avon because that was the only area where people were talking about asexuality. It wasn't on Facebook. It really wasn't on Twitter. It wasn't on Instagram or anything like that. And it was, basically I drag every Australian I could from Avon and went, here, do this. And it's just started to catch on with people. And I mean, and now we've got over 800 people on our Facebook group. And that's still, nowhere near 1% of the population that we are supposed to make up.
I mean,
but it's something, and it means that people have a resource. So I guess if anybody doesn't have a Facebook group for their organization, it's you just be the person to start it. You don't have to be the only one run. You don't have to be the only person to run it. I've got Kate and a couple of ACES that I've known from way back, and I've got a team of about 5 or 6 of us running this 800 people group, and and it runs itself most of the time, to be perfectly honest. It's not a big demand on our attention, except when people decide to start shit. But really, it's probably easier than trying to run a Twitter, from my perspective anyway, because I find I get lost with Twitter. I lose track of and I'm like, oh, cool, there's this interesting thing. I don't know how to find it. I don't know what I'm doing. Whereas I've been using Facebook.
I think am I out of sync?
It's face. I think I might be out of sync. I don't know.
Facebook has its unsafeness, but we found that like having screening questions for a group can be really helpful. It's just tell us one fact about asexuality, and do you agree to the group rules? And the number of people that don't tick that they agree to the group rules, it's so basic. Having and you can very easily tell a troll from that, because trolls don't try to hide themselves. They don't, for example, put in a fact about asexuality so that they can get into the group and then troll inside the group. What they do is they put a troll comment in the question. They don't try to hide themselves.
And they wonder why you don't let them in.
Yeah, they don't play the long game. They're not very smart. So
I mean, we didn't have.
you can keep them out. There are fairly easy ways to find them, and it does definitely help to have more than one person in moderation, because looking after moderating things on your own can be quite draining and quite stressful. Like, I mean, just today, you know, we had a dispute where I was like, I don't have the emotional energy to handle this dispute right now. Like, I need help. So, you know, having other people to bounce a moderation question off, like, am I right about this, that this person is actually the one in the wrong? I just need somebody else to reassure me that I'm making the right decision in terms of moderating this conversation, is sometimes really important just to have. And a lot of the time you'll find that, you are in the right. You're just second guessing yourself. But other times, you know, you do need to agree on things as a team. And it's just, I mean, Facebook is definitely the place where you're going to find the most people, but it is, like you said, sometimes unsafe. But there are ways to keep it safe, and Facebook does not always help you. It isn't really set up for protecting minorities, but there are some steps that you can take that are going to make things a little bit safer.
I mean, one of the things that's been very important is that our group is private. The AVEN Facebook group started off as public, and only in the last couple of months have they had to actually turn it private, because they had people coming in and basically laugh emoting every single serious comment, and so their admin basically had to make the executive decision to keep everybody safe, to turn it private. So Australian Asexuals started private. We never had it as public, and it also means that those who are not out can participate, because then it doesn't show up as a group. It doesn't show that they're a member of it. So it means that they can still be part of the conversation, and they can still be in there and find their people, and that's really important, because not everybody is out, and particularly in countries where QIA plus rights are not as well protected in Australia. I'm not saying they're very well protected in Australia, but we do, being Anglo-Saxon or Anglophone country, albeit small, and on the other side of the world too, a large majority of everybody, when it comes to other Anglo-Saxon countries, we do have some protections that particularly our Asian asexual friends don't have, and that's something that Kate and I actually discovered we had an idea about it, but we didn't really know until ACE Week, and we both appeared on the Bangladeshi ACES symposium, and the stories that we heard not disturbed us, but it opened our eyes, because we had the idea that, you know, we had this position of privilege that others didn't have, but we hadn't heard the stories coming from other ACES, where in the Bangladeshi ACES group, there's 4 of them. There's 4. And they have one small little group, and that's it. And it just seems so different to what we experience here. And I mean, people still are not yay ACE all over Australia or anything like that, but it's certainly not that level of vitriol and ridicule and harm coming to the ACES, particularly, and I'm sure that may be your experience, Medina, as well, what I'm talking about, because I know one of the things that the Bangladeshi ACES mentioned was forced marriages and marital rape and that kind of stuff. Sorry, content warning, my bad. But it's not they're things that are relatively completely foreign to most Australians. And Kate and I we knew of it as a concept, and that we knew it happened, but we never. I personally hadn't spoken to anybody who, you know, that had been through that.
That's more your experience than mine, though. Like I've certainly experienced violence and oppression because of my asexual identity. But in my case, I know it to at least. Even though I wasn't able to go to the law, I know that what happened to me was illegal. This is
also her specialty area of things. Kate's specialty area is ACES and trauma.
My specialty is I research hate crimes against asexuals. So I know in countries, in Australia, we have certain rights that are technically protected that in other countries there are not even the technical protection that is available And yeah, that's definitely something that I think IAD needs to highlight, is that we're in different places in different places, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes complete sense. And I mean, so I guess it's one of the things that I really have liked about IAD, that side of things, is getting to know our international ACE friends, and noticing the differences and the similarities that we have as asexuals, but also, you know, understanding that we all come from a different place and we all come with different baggage and we all come with a different path coming to our asexuality, and that, you know, that our stories are all different, but they all come together on some level because we're all asexuals and we all have experiences that others have had, and it's nice to hear from across the world that what we experience is not unique to us. Is that kind of a little bit too tangential for you, Melina? Because we went off on a little tangent there. But yeah, so if anybody else wants to pipe in on anything that Kate and I have just said, which is completely off topic, feel free.
Okay, I wanted to add something to this, drawing from the experience of our group, which I think we can relate with the Nepali asexuals on our both being very young organizations that really have to move in for Italy, it's not quite, I wouldn't say not quite an hostile environment, but a very ignorant environment in which we always have to be confronted with the same tired stereotypes that we always hear. Oh, asexual are people that don't want to have sex, they're frigid, they're cold, they're blah, blah, blah. We all know that. I'd say that the suggestion of all the like suggestions that Kate and Gemma made about Facebook groups are very valid. Like, groups can be a very useful tool. For example, my personal experience is that I knew nothing about asexuality. I just knew that I had problems in my relationships. And I thought of this word that I maybe saw somewhere on the internet. Maybe it was a screenshot of a Tumblr post or something. And I thought, maybe it can be that. And I joined a Facebook group of asexuals that we have in Italy. And confronting my experience with the experiences of other asexual people, I confirmed the fact that, yes, I am in fact asexual. And I think that having a place where you can make this comparison in which you can share your experiences, not only for, for people to realize that they're sexual, but also like having a place where you can share how you feel, how you view of judgment for that. It's very important. Especially because we live in a society where amatonormativity, at least in Italy, is still very, very, very present. There is our culture revolves still a lot around the heteronormative family and this kind of path that every person should follow in relationships, in which you start getting close to a person, and that you start once you're close enough to someone, you have sex with them, or sometimes it's the other way around. But anyway, it's still very fixed, and it's
The
still
relationship
very
escalator
normative.
is what we call it.
That is a very good name. I shall translate the metaphor for sure. It's very efficient. And and yeah, and so having a place where someone can talk of their experiences outside the relationship escalator, without the fear of judgment, the fear of being ridiculed, it's very, very important. And also another thing that is very important in ACE activism, I feel, especially in places where rights like legal rights for LGBTQ people in general are not very advanced. Yeah, thank you. Now I'm being quoted. You can quote me on that. We do live in a society, in fact. Thank you, Cheese. Another thing that is very important in countries like, for example, Italy, in which the legal protection for LGBTQ individuals is not very good, and it is in fact very bad and very backwards, and like still not up to, for example, other European countries' standard. In the case of Italy, it's important to find alliances in with other LGBTQ organizations, especially the big ones. Of course, it's not. Sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes a lot of invisibilization that ACE people face is within the LGBTQ community, especially I would say from older people in a way, because a lot of LGBTQ activism in the 70s, when there was the gay liberation movement, at least I'm talking about the Italian situation specifically, of course, it was really about sex liberation and like the freedom to have sex among people of whatever the gender you may feel. And so like when you bring asexuality to the table, a lot of these old activists, I feel threatened. They feel like, oh, they're trying to roll back the sexual freedom that we achieved. And it is important then to strive for correct visibility of asexuality, to strive for to provide education to these organizations, to go there as an organization that also fights for LGBTQ rights, and say, okay, we're on the same side. Let us explain to you what we are about and why we're fighting on the same side, please. And most of the time, in our experience, it works. And that's also why, for example, in Italy for IAD, we did this whole event with different activist organizations that are about different other intersections, whether they are part of the LGBTQ community or not. And also some organizations that were in some other towns in Italy. We took contact with them, and they did like their own IAD event. That it would have been like a city event if it was not for the pandemic. And yeah, the ACE visibility through the greater LGBTQ activism, it is very important, especially in countries where like ACE people are a real minority, and can really hope for that kind of visibility on our own. I'm done.
You didn't pass the ball to anyone? Oh, okay, yes.
To put it back towards the French context and other stuff, what I found, and that's something our friends from Australia talked about. They talked about legal protection and the law, and I think it's really important to point out that sometimes there is a symbolic gesture, or they will say something, and but in reality we won't have the protection they say we do. Or if like I hate the police, like number one, like of the police, like just like police, dangerous police, but you like police is the threat for me, like but I know from other people that police is also the threat to people who have not the background of activism that I do. I know from people who try to press charges for rape or sexual assault that it's very hard to manage to even press charges. And when you press charges, then for it to go to trial is even like very low. But so if you go to a lawyer in France, and you say, I want to press charges for rape, they will tell you, oh, be warned, 1% rate conviction, and the rate that you will be prosecuted for defamation is higher than the rate that the person will be convicted for the rape. And so that's something that's always in the background. So for me, like the most pressing issue we face is rape culture, which is both in social, cultural norm and backed by legislation. And that's something that is also present in the queer community. So a few months ago, recently we started talking about those things and how the queer community is not exempt from rape and violence and stuff. But that was the point that people from the queer community clashed with us, because when we brought up those things, they were like, "Oh, why are you criticizing us? Why you don't criticize the rest of society? They're worse than us, blah blah blah." And like, no, I'm just you're presenting yourself as sometimes safe spaces, and they're not safe at all. So that's when I'm saying, yeah, you're not exempt either. So yeah.
Oh, I just wanted to add as well, like you're saying about having police technically having the protection and it not necessarily resulting in conviction, or even if you do go and report, which in Australia right now that is a huge issue, which I won't go into because it traumatizes me every single day. But also there's the issue with asexuality. And I've had this from my personal experience, people talking to me, but also just I know that it happens a lot from people telling me other stories, is this issue that it didn't happen because you're asexual, so you don't deserve, the protections. It's not a hate crime. It's just, it was just a misogynist thing. It was just sexism thing. It isn't happening because you're asexual, so you don't deserve the protection, in the same way that other communities do deserve it. That is my small aside.
Yeah, I think I don't even I don't at this point I don't care that we get any legal protection. I don't care. I just, in France, they're still debating whether there's a legal age for consent, which has led very recently to people being acquitted of rape of 11-year-old children, some of which were children because of the rape, and at the court, the people still said, "Oh no, the child consented to the sexual intercourse that occurred. Oh, they looked older, blah blah blah." 11, dude, 11. So the bar is so low that I don't talking about specific protection. For me, it's like, okay, we have to first let them investigate when a trans woman is murdered. Let them just say that if you rape an 11-year-old, you don't have to prove that the 11-year-old said no, because they're 11, they can consent, and let's build from there. I think we have to start at the bottom and then build our way up. And also the thing about an important issue is about refugee statuses. So that's actually why sexuality needs to be protected. But at this stage, I've been in immigration court in France, and so I've seen a person who in their country, because they were gay, had been beaten. Their apartment was set on fire, and their boyfriend had been murdered, and he was sent back to his country because event took part, the three horrific events took part too much time apart for it to constitute like a pattern of persecution. Are you kidding me? But so basically there is no real safe way to for a real protection for LGBT folks in general. So rather than focusing on us, I think it's better to focus on lifting up everyone. And then if we're part of the conversation, if we're part of the fight, then they have to add asexuality to it, because, you know, they will look bad if they don't do it.
Maybe we can go back to the question Manita made, if it's okay with you, because I always point to the wrong side, because Martine is here for me, yes, because Martine hasn't answered yet, and maybe she wanted to say something again about Manita's question. Okay, I'm gonna stop using my hand, and this is a big Italian stereotype. I know I embody the Italian stereotype.
Yes, I wanted to say something. So we are online on social media. We have 2 websites, one in Dutch and one other in the 4 languages. We have 3 official languages here in Belgium. And then we organize local activities, so everywhere in Belgium. But that takes a lot of energy, of course, because as an organizer, you have to drive everywhere. But of course, it's not Australia here. Belgium is not that big. And what we also started doing is making some some flyers. Yeah, I said it right now. And then also now I'm busy doing making some brochures that explains more about asexuality and having more visual designs in it. So we are busy doing that. We will make it also in 4 languages. And the other thing what we are doing, and that will take a little bit more energy, is contacting therapists. And I can't pronounce that well that name. It's sexuologists. Now it went well. So when people, because you have partners, you have that are, one is a sexual partner and the other one is asexual, sometimes they need some advice. So a lot of doctors, therapists here in Belgium and sexologists, they don't know much about asexuality. Like Amy said, it's also a bit ignorant. They are ignorant about it. And so we want to inform them also. And another thing what we have done is we are networking with other LGBTQIA plus organizations, and one works with schools. So we have already sent our flyers to the schools, and they will send like a campaign package that is talking about asexuality and other sexual identities, and they will send it to all schools. So in that way, and continuously putting effort in it, the crowd will be bigger of asexuals that are coming to you, and also people that didn't know before what asexuality is about will also ask for information. Maybe some partners, I have got that already, that reaction, partners that are writing to me, and then they said, do you know a therapist, because we have some problems, we want to get some help. So if you put the energy in it and you are on every information channel, you will be bigger and people will get to know asexuality. That's my reply to Manita.
Thank you so much, Martin, and everyone else too. It's been really helpful. I'm taking notes. So yeah, I have to think about how much impact it might be given the difference in cultures and everything, and the times we are in. But all of this is helpful. Yeah, regarding especially now sexologists and therapists, they aren't even much like accessible here, because if it is stigmatized, but it's still a privilege to get a therapist in a place like here. So it is difficult to actually, but the thing about schools and focusing on queer allies and Facebook group as well, like keeping a closed group initially and then maybe spreading it and keeping proper questions and shielding it from being spammed. I think all of these are very helpful answers. Thank you. If anyone else has some other question.
I'd say, of course, we have a Discord of IAD and of the mailing list, so we can also go on discussing advices for other groups all over the world for a long time. So I'm seeing we're being live for 1 hour and 50 minutes, so we should stop in 10 minutes. I'm asking you if you want to stick here a bit longer or not. It's up to you, because I don't want to impose. We lost Gemma again, but we come in, we go out, we jump back in. That's the beauty of it. We had, I think, 3 questions in the comments, so I'm not sure we're going to answer them all. One was what it means to you to be ACE. The other was, have you ever read The Invisible Orientation? I tried to keep them in mind. And now came another one that I'm reading now. What is the hypothetical win state of spreading awareness on asexuality? And I actually had another question, so I'm just going to drop it here, and then we decide if we want to stick longer, if we want to answer to some of these questions and some not. But I wanted to ask it. I mean, we created a very big organization. Gemma's back. Yes, she's back for my question. In order to create IAD, we made a network between, it's now like more than 40 countries. Estance told me, because they have the spreadsheet about how many we are. Thank you, Estance, and your spreadsheet. And so it's much bigger than just organizing one event and one date. And IAD has already been very useful for me, because I could get feedback and get information and get material from ACES all over the world. And so I wanted to ask you, is there something you'd like IAD, like the network behind IAD, to do during the following year that brings us up to 2022, something you'd like to do with IAD, to do with the network we'd created all together? So what do we want to do? Which questions are we going to answer? How much time are we going to stay here? This is the other question.
The invisible orientation, I know that someone started and did like half of the translating for it in French. So it has been read, but yeah. For me, one of the goals for IAD as an organization for the future is to develop the network so we can all help each other and be a support, so we can generate resources in many languages, because most of the resources right now are in English, and that is a big barrier for most people around the world. And so if we help each other and support each other and don't start from scratch, we make a doc together and then we translate that doc, which we have done for like the website, and everything is translated in over 20 languages. And so I think continuing to do that, doing something like for something addressed to the media, something addressed to medical workers or psychologists, something for educators, and like doing like those kind of resources. I think that for me that would be one of the goals. And also I don't have any plans today besides working, so on this, so I can stay whenever.
Okay, I think that it's a good idea to try and answer a bit. Let's answer what we want to answer and not answer what we don't want. Also tell if we want to stay a bit more. So I haven't read the Invisible Orientation because I'm very busy with many things to read because of university, and so the idea of reading something else, it's dreadful to me at the moment, but I'd like to do that. And in Italy, we are trying to push for an Italian translation of ACE from Chen, and we hope we can do that. What it means for me to be ACE, it would be a long answer, so I'll just say it means to have found a way to define my orientation, to have found a community, to have found something I want to fight for, and also, yes, to have found a way to understand myself better and also understand my sexuality better. And some people in Italy, as Amy said, some old activists say asexuality is against the LGBT because it goes against sexual liberation. I'd say I feel much more sexual liberated and I can enjoy sex much more now that I know I am asexual, so checkmate. The other questions, what is the wind state of asexual awareness? I'm sorry if I have to answer it short. I won't. I'll probably just write to you and answer later because I really have to think about that. And the last question, that's the one I posed, is what we'd like to do with the network of IAD. And I'd like to keep it up to also exchange advices and do things, events, organize things together. But most of all, I'd like to make a network for translations and accessibility. I think with IAD network, with the resources to do that, we have the resources to finally exchange all the materials we have done in these years and translate them and start having standards and policies for accessibilities to all our contents. And I think that's going to be very, very, very useful, very, very, very important. And we have the possibility to do it now. So next time there's a meeting, and I'll ask Michael, do we have a scheduled meeting? When is it going to be? Because I want to talk to you all. And I will probably try to write this down better and actually propose. Does propose in English only means ask someone to marry you, or is it also general? I have no idea, but it's okay. It's okay. I'll probably propose to IAD to marry me, and I'll ask to do this thing specifically because I think we can do that and it's going to be gorgeous. I wasn't short. I'm sorry. Martin, again, why do I do that?
Can I go next?
Oh,
because
sorry.
I think I will leave you after these answers because I'm shivering from the cold. I really need to put several blankets on my person to keep myself safe. But other than that, first of all, I haven't had the time yet to read anything because of the aforementioned university stuff. I have like a big pile of book just outside the camera. For what does it mean to be ACE for me? It's mostly about community. It's mostly about having people that understand how I am not following society's prescription and being with people that understand that and with which we can band together to try to tear down those prescriptions one by one. And I will what to do with the IAD network. I just like to bask in this awesomeness. So this I don't know. I'm always being a big fan or something of international cultural middling and international cooperation and being in the same space with a lot of people of many different cultures. And I don't know, it's always something that gets me emotional. And that's that. And last question, and then I will say my farewells. The win state of asexuality is the A state. As we all know, our ultimate goal is conquer the world and nothing less. With that said, thank you all for participating. It's been awesome. I've had a great time, and I don't know. I'll see you in all the other virtual places that we meet. Bye, y'all.
Yes, I will answer the 4 questions. So what does it mean to be ACE for you? For me, it means it's important to focus on the sexual attraction for another person. It's not about sex, but the sexual attraction. That's what it's about. The community I also found very important, that we found together each other, and that we are helping each other to be visible like we are doing now today. Then, have you read The Invisible Orientation? No, I haven't. What is the win state of asexual awareness? I don't understand really that question, so I leave it like that. What would you like to do with the EID network? I would like to participate again in live streams, or just have another one, and maybe have a game night with other ACES internationally. I would like to have that. I think also it's very nice to watch that. I'm not sure how we can do that, but I'm sure you will know that. But maybe we can do that also in the ACE week and the Worldwide Pride. Maybe we can do that. And yeah, that's my input for now. Now I can stick a bit longer. But if it's finished now, then I would say thank you very much, and thank you for inviting me. But I can stay longer.
I can stay a little bit longer too, because it's only 9, but my dog might demand to come in the room. That's all. What the questions? So have I read The Invisible Orientation? Yes, I have. I may need help. What does being ACE mean to me? It means that there is nothing wrong with me, and there are other people like me, and everything's fine. There never was anything wrong with me all the time that I thought that there was. What is the end goal? I reckon I would be pretty happy if what I went through, no one ever has to go through. That would be pretty happy with that. I would say that is a successful end. And is that everything? Did I get them all?
What would you like to do with the IAD in the future?
I can't really think of anything, but I can tell you one interesting thing that it has done already. Is is the asexual lived experience survey that Gemma and I circulated. I haven't done a lot of the results, but I have run the numbers on where respondents came from. And one thing that came out that I found very interesting was that all of the countries where I got more responses from than you would think, population-wise, all of them were for countries where there is somebody very active on the IAD server. So Italy, France, Denmark, they were all places where we have people on the IAD server. So this is where the circulation of the survey was clearly coming out was from the IAD server. So one thing it is good for is obviously reaching all these different communities in different places, and getting that survey out to places that otherwise it probably would not have gotten out to. And so it's given me data that I otherwise wouldn't have had access to. And so I think that is one thing that I would love to see it continue doing, is giving me access to juicy data that I otherwise wouldn't be getting.
Is it okay if I go next? Oh, no, Manita, you can go. Go.
Okay, actually, I would have loved to stay a little longer, but my battery is running out. So I think I might answer them and then leave. So the first question being being ace means being okay with being this different in every aspect, not having to conform to the ideas that everyone has imposed, not being this stereotypical person that everyone expects you to be, and knowing that it's okay to be that way, knowing that there's nothing wrong with me, knowing that there are other people like me who feel the same as me, and that's what being ace is. And it's so wonderful to finally understand and realize that it's all okay. So that's what it is. And the other question was, no, I haven't read The Invisible Orientation. That was the name, right? I'm sorry if I messed it up, but I haven't been able to because I've been working at the emergency during this COVID year and taking a psychology degree, morning classes, and that's why I've been super busy about all the things, and all the assignments are still pending, and now I have to get to it. The sleep and the pending assignments are now due, so I'll have to get to it. I will eventually read all of these books one by one, and in fact, we plan on doing this book club discussion next time in Nepali sexuals, so we've already thought of it. The other question was what the wind state, or yeah, so maybe that it's so far, but I think the ideal state would be the place where we wouldn't have to make such a big deal about feeling okay. It would be okay just like that. We would have to literally come out and explain to people that we love that this is how we feel, and our love is a little bit different than what they think love is, and it doesn't make it any less lovely than love is supposed to be. Not having to explain that to each and everyone that you ever think should matter in your life. Maybe that would be the perfect ideal situation. And the other last question was about IAD. So IAD was such a big opportunity. It was really big, and the place we've reached, the networking that we have, it is really good because of it, we can now discuss about all of the things that we go through and how drastically different yet similar they are, and what we can do to help each other out in any which way, by even ideas or even by being there. Even that makes such a difference. So I think since it's not a lot of us here, and I've been the face of this till now, but we have other aces who are willing to be a little bit more vocal and open, or it's going to be a team effort now, and that is what brings joy to my heart. It won't just have to be me pushing things, because it's not just about me. All of us do care about how it is perceived, and all of us want to be the person that never was there for us while we grew up. So I guess that's what it is. So we will yeah, we might be slow because we have less manpower, but the translations and all, and taking part in the activities as far as we can, we won't be able to organize big things as of yet, but we will definitely be taking part like this year. If it's going to be a big thing, we would really love that. And saying this much, I would like to thank all of you and for inviting and for organizing everything and being so sweet and gracious and listening and asking. And I would have loved to stay a little longer, but I can't because of aforementioned issues. So I'd just like to say bye to everyone, and then I'd like to say bye to all my Nepali ACE people. So I'll talk to them in Nepali, which I'll translate as well. So मेरो ACE देशवासीहरूलाई मेरो तर्फबाट धेरै धेरै माया छ. So this is what we came up with that day. It's a pun. So ACE Deswasi actually means Deswasi means citizens, and it just rhymes. I don't know why. So it's like ACE Deswasi means like citizens of ACE Nation. So we've made it like a thing. So all my ACE Nation citizens, I'm just sending you lots of love. And it is not just limited to IED. It's going to be there, and activism doesn't end because our existence doesn't. So love to everyone. Thank you so much for everything. I'll leave for now. Bye.
Can I go next, or Estance, do you want to go next?
Estance already answered the question.
Did she?
They
okay,
were
I must have missed Estance.
very on point and short, which I didn't manage to be.
Okay, so I need to go back to the questions because I'm distracted. So I haven't read The Invisible Orientation. It's on my Kindle, but between IAD and my son starting school, I haven't had a lot of time to read, but I have it on my Kindle and I have every intention to read it. It's on my to-do list. So what is the win state of asexual awareness? I'd say it's probably that it gets treated like every other sexual orientation, or at least close enough that we're not constantly having to do ACE 101, that we can actually do ACE 102. And I know that's something that Kate and the rest of the Australian ACEs find very important as well, because every time a media person comes to us and goes, hey, we want to do something on asexuality, it's always the basics. And most of the time we never get to talk more about it. And so being able to not have to do ACE 101 anymore would be awesome. So that would be my first win for that. So what does it mean to be ACE for you? So basically for me, it's community. It's knowing that I'm not the only one, and it's honestly having a better understanding than most straight and everybody else and all the allosexuals out there, better understanding of consent. One thing that's come up is that we seem to have a better understanding of consent when it comes to ACEs who do have sex. And also basically, having people that you can talk to, like the conversations that some of us ACEs have had go into a lot more detail than our allonormative mates are willing to discuss. Like we've seen ACEs talking about masturbation. I've seen ACEs talking about kink in detail that the allo folk kind of wouldn't go there, because we seem to be able to wrap our hand around it a little bit better than they do, which is kind of ironic, really. But they, as basically being able to have those kinds of conversations and it not be awkward and weird and strange, because we're just trying to work out where we fit into the world. And I guess what would I like to do with the IAD network? I'd like to continue the connections we've made and find a way to have more regular international cooperation. So as part of the ACES event that we had, I made a separate server, because when we did Australian ACE Week, we made a little server and we invited international people into it, and then we decided, hang on, we actually need a server just for us. So we unceremoniously, well, not unceremoniously, but we contained it just to Australians. And then I was thinking that given the great connections we've made with IAD, that it would be awesome to be able to invite them into the Australian space, because for some bizarre reason, everybody else in the world thinks Aussies are awesome. I don't understand it. But there's a lot of my international friends have been like, oh, I want to visit Australia. And so we thought having an international space where we could talk, well, a space that was not just Australians, but international as well, that we could talk in, would be awesome. And so on the games night thing that got mentioned earlier, I'm one of the Melbourne ACES runs games nights. And I've been talking to her about getting the games that run the games nights. So I thought it would be really awesome, given the connections we made, that we could run some international chats/meets on this Discord server, and maybe some games nights and stuff, like on a night, say this kind of, let's say, probably on a weekend night, because then everybody would actually have a better chance of being available across the globe. So yeah, that's what I'd like to do with the IAD server, besides the kind of stuff that Kate was talking about with the survey and things like that. But fostering those connections we've made, and yeah, that's my answer on that one.
I want to reiterate that no, Australia is a death trap. I do not go to islands.
I think S had a question for Kate and I that got lost in the ether, that she meant to ask us earlier that got missed. Did you want to still ask us that?
I'm not sure. Maybe since we're going, I think, to wrap it up, I'd leave time for others.
It's okay. I finished off my chocolate earlier from Easter. My son's is still sitting there. I'm tempted to eat it, but I won't. I'll be a nice mother.
I think Gemma is late again on the live stream. Anyway, I think I'd leave some time for others, Estanza, Martin, Kate, or Gemma, if you want to say something to close the event. I had one question for Australia, but I think I'll just ask you better on Discord, and I'll ask you here just as a yes or no question, because for Mardi Gras, I saw you did something great, because you created like all these great asexual flags, and also with a heart for romantic orientation to bring it to the parade. And then I saw you sold them in an auction on Facebook. And so the yes or no question is, how did the auction go? Did you sell all the flags you've done? And the other yes or no question is, can we have a homoromantic with lesbian flag, asexual flag next year, please? Because I really want to buy one. You have closed the mic. I don't know if you.
Yeah, they were all sold, but I don't think they made back all the money that it cost to make them. But they made back some of the money that it cost to make them in the first place. And so lesbian flag, I don't know if they'll do them again, because the theme.
So with that, those flags that we had were handmade.
Yeah, Gemma's definitely behind the rest of it.
They were actually sewn by. Yeah. They actually.
And now she's realized it and she's gone. Yeah, they were made by Amy, mostly by Amy, and a little bit by Elise, the two of our people that do most of the organization for Mardi Gras. But the theme was raise your flag, so that was why they had flags this year. But I think that you can. I've seen people that have them, so I think that you can probably get them somewhere, but I'm not sure where.
With that, so they were made by one of the two organisers, Amy and Elise. Basically, they went we ordered flags. We ordered flags in January with with this layout on them, and they did not turn up. And then we had to last minute go and find a bunch of ACE flags and handmade the hearts. They hand painted them. Then Amy sewed them on her sewing machine. And so there was a lot of love that went into these flags. And they looked awesome on the day. They looked really, really cool. But yeah, she actually ordered them especially made. So we decided to auction those off to try and make back some of it. So I can ask as to the designs that they had, and we may be able to put them up on our Redbubble, because we have this year's Mardi Gras shirt and last year's Mardi Gras shirt up on Redbubble. So we can try and see if we can get them to put the designs that she made, the layout and stuff, on Redbubble on their flag stuff. We may be able to have them as international. I'll have to ask Amy whether or not she's happy to do that. But basically, yeah, those ones were handmade. And the buy flag actually has paw prints on it because they have a dog, they have a greyhound, and he was spectating while they were making them, and he got paint on his paws, and he's put his little autograph on the buy flag. So that one was a little bit extra special.
Supervising.
Well, thank you. I'm happy I made the question because I didn't know all the backstory and the polls thing. So I like to hear that. Is there anyone else who wants to say something? Have questions or such?
Yeah,
I didn't point to anyone.
I wanted to say, you said like, what's the end goal? And people ask about the end goal. And honestly, my end goal is the end of capitalism, imperialism, decolonization, and ecology, and the end of patriarchy and rape culture. So, and queer liberation, of course. So that's my personal end goal. You know, no more borders, no more capitalism, no more like all the bad things are. Like I don't think we can be free until all of us are free, and so I've done a lot of activism in my life, so just like and I think I'm like old and tired, so I only do asexuality activism. But I don't forget that I started out as a as a homeless person who did housing activism, and then like all the other activism I did after that, which were because of my specific situation, and so I keep that in mind, and to be grateful to all that we have. And mindful of all the privilege I have and other people have, and so we can try and lift other people up. And sometimes asexuality is not the priority, and that's okay too. That I wanted to say that.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think I'm definitely like the most social justice body of the Australian admin team. So I will sometimes come in and be on another issue, and they'll be like, is this really the forum for discussions? Like, every forum is for the discussion of this issue. There's always time to discuss X,
we always
Y, Z.
appreciate it, Kate.
Yes.
We always appreciate it, even if it's not our beef.
Very, very kind of them. Yeah.
We never tell you to shut up because we don't want you to shut up. It's not because we're being kind. These things are important. And I mean, that's one of the reasons that our Aussie Ace Week panel had a trauma and asexuality panel on it, because Kate was talking to me about it, and I went, you know what? We're going to make this shit happen. This is going to happen, because the amount of times that trauma and asexuality get either swept under the table, or people go, oh, no, we don't want to be associated with it. And I just went, no, we're going to do this. And it was one of our more popular panels, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah, that's true.
And people really appreciated that we spoke about it.
We didn't bring in Mick. Mick,
Mick, do you want to come in? Wait, I have no idea where. Can someone give this link to Mick on Discord, please?
Wait, I'll do it.
Yes.
If he wants to come. Martin, why did I pronounce that like?
Let's see who can
wanted
get
to
to
add
Mick quickest.
Done.
While we wait
You got
for
Kate
Mick.
beat me. Kate beat me. I was going to the same conversation.
I always have like 400 tabs open. I am just an expert at flipping between.
I have 2 tabs open because my internet is being a pain in the ass.
Amateur.
Yeah, because my on my phone on my iPad is fine, but the laptop is just being a see you next Tuesday. That's what it's been.
Gemma and I have been keeping it so clean. Like, we haven't been talking Australian at all. We've been not even having a third of the swear words we would normally be using in ordinary conversation.
I would like to say thank you anyway for the organization.
Yep.
Hey!
Oh.
We've been trying to be good.
Let's let Martin talk. Let's let Martin talk.
Yes, I was just up.
Yeah, I mean, I know that the conversations that S and Astance and Amy have had with us.
Gemma's behind again.
Is it safe?
Sorry.
Okay. Well, I wanted to say thank you again for organizing this. It asks a lot of energy to be the organizer and to be watching if everything goes okay. For the people also who are looking on the question side, on the backstage side. And yeah, I would like to participate next time in live streams from the World Pride, from the ACE Week. Of course, participating like this is much easier than organizing it. But if I can do next time in the organization, I can do that also. So yes, thank you very much, both. Yeah, all of you actually. And thank you also for the platform, because now for me, what I like is, if I think of France, I will think of Estance. Italy, I see your face, and Kate, for example, and Mick. It's the countries have a face now on it. It's not only just Discord and chatting online. We have had an interaction, and I really like this. So it will make us stronger, I believe. So thank you very much.
I don't claim friends, right?
Thank you. Thank you very much. Gemma is back.
Gemma is back.
Gemma, I'm sorry. I think that your live stream lag has been very, very annoying on your part, but it created some very comic moments, I think, on our part. So I'll shut up. Estance, were you trying to say something? Sorry,
Yeah, Mick, let us. Mick can talk a bit.
No. How was it comic? I want to know, because.
We'll talk about it later, but now finally, Mick, do you want to say something? And finally, I can point to someone easily, because there's no problem in pointing down. So yay, go Mick.
No, just want to say it's been an absolute pleasure working with you all, and as we've already said, you know, everybody here has worked so hard on making this event happen, and everybody deserves a huge break now. But I would like to reiterate again that it's not just us here. I mean, all of us here have put so much into it, but it's also everybody who's not here. We've already mentioned that it's we're talking about over 100 people, and I think Estance counted 40 different countries. And so what's been amazing about this is it really has been a totally international effort. There hasn't been it hasn't been led by a single country. It's really been I mean, it's just been fun seeing all the different experiences from around the world, and it's how I personally love doing activism and visibility that way. I mean, of course, we all do our work in our own countries as well, but you know, the international perspective is just awesome. So it's been brilliant, and thank you and well done everybody, both here and not here, for all your work on this.
I think it's more than 40 now. Like, so there are like 46 or 47 countries involved in ID, and we've contacted over 50, and some are like organizing, getting back to us, and sometimes it takes a bit of time. But hopefully next year we'll be even stronger, and I've reached out to people in even more or all other places also. And we'll keep doing that because it's important to reach out to all the other people.
Yep, that's right. We won't rest until every single country has representation.
So, round of applause for all the ACE community in the world. And I'll say my goodbyes to all. I wanted to say thank you to everyone for coming here, and then of course I'll let you also say goodbye. I don't want to close the event because it's like for everyone, it's not for me, but I want to say thank you very much for coming today. I was so happy, and it's the first time I woke up in the morning and I did something I liked in the morning, and so I'm very happy about that. So, thank you. And it was great, all IAD, and it was great also to have this moment just to chat and talk to you and read comments. It was very, very, very nice. So thank you very much for being here today. Thank you very much for all the people who watched the live stream for being here today. And thank you all for existing and for organizing this, which was amazing. And I can't wait, really. When Asexual Awareness Week ends, I normally think, okay, my God, at least I have a year to rest. This time I need to rest as well. But I'm already thinking I can't wait for IAD next year to come. In Italian, very briefly, grazie a tutti per essere stato qui, grazie a tutti per aver seguito il live stream, grazie a tutti quelli che hanno partecipato all'organizzazione di questo evento che è stato bellissimo, e dopo la settimana della consapevolezza sessuale di solito sono stanca morta e dico ok, per fortuna ora mi riposo un anno, mentre invece adesso che è finita la IAD mi voglio riposare, ma spero anche che arrivi presto quella dell'anno prossimo. Thank you very much.
Dankjewel iedereen om dit te bekijken. En we zien elkaar wel in de World Pride in augustus. En in oktober is er de ACE Week.
I guess just hello and goodbye. It's been such a great time.
You can emphasize your Australian accent if you want.
Oh, g'day. I don't know what the opposite of g'day is. Actually, I do, but it includes a really bad word, so I won't. Oi, yep, see you later. Next Tuesday. Let's throw another shrimp.
See you around like a rissole.
See you around like a rissole. Yeah, that's probably it. It's been an amazing time. See you around like a rissole, because rissoles are like round patties of meat that are like that.
Meat. Yep.
Yeah, minced like into a round patty this big. So see you round like a rissole because I don't know why.
Or see you around like a record.
Round like a record as well, yeah. It's been a great time, a stressful time, but a great time. And it's so good to see all of your faces after like just talking to you for nearly a year online. And also I hope, as I know that we are speaking from a very, very lucky place right now, so I hope that everybody is safe and that your COVID situation starts to improve really soon. So like really, really thinking of everybody all the time from down here. So hope I can maybe see you in person one day. That would be wonderful. Oh, it's Poopy! Hello, Poopy! A round of applause for Poopy.
Yeah, Poopy has been absolutely incredible, I have to say. Coordinating social media.
Someone should give her the link.
Yeah, she's the real. She's a hero.
Yeah.
They're
Poopy has
awesome.
been incredible.
Poopy is an awesome person, and we love them very much.
Yes.
I just wanted to echo Kate on the COVID thing as well, because we are coming from a very privileged position here, because we are on an island, and it does have its advantages sometimes. But I also wanted to thank all of you guys, because it has been really, really awesome working with all of you. And I mean, I've known Mike and Kate for a very long time, but the rest of you guys have been new faces, and it's really good to put a face to a name. And really awesome to be able to bounce ideas off people and work in a really good collaborative team. And the team has been amazing. Those who have translated, those who've done social media, those who've been background, and those who have been staying up till 3 o'clock in the morning and getting 3 hours sleep. There's been a whole range of people, and it would take forever to thank everybody, because there's over 100 people on the server, and while not everybody is active, that's still a hell of a lot of ACES in one place working to one goal. So I just want to say thank you, everybody. You have been wonderful. Somebody should give Poopy the link so she can jump in.
I sent Poopy the link. I sent them the link.
Yeah, I did too. And
everybody's like, send Poopy the link. Send Poopy the link.
I don't think this is ever going to end, because as time progresses, different time zones will be online, and so we're going to
24-hour.
This is going to become the 24-hour live stream.
We're doing this
improvisational 24-hour live stream. No, I'm not. I want to point out I'm not serious. I'm not. But let's see if Poopy wants to come, and Poopy can close the event.
Yes.
If they want.
Maybe.
Did they answer? No.
Everyone is welcome to come to my bit of the world, and but I will not go to any islands. I refuse. It's too dangerous. I'm too scared.
Is that because we shared that song with you on IAD about Come to Australia? Is that what freaked you out, Astance?
No, I'm very genuinely scared of islands. And just like if you call swim,
like Katie's scared of emus.
Oh no, I don't care about emus. You know,
emus are legitimately terrifying.
I mean,
I have a phobia of emus.
You know, are emus carriers and cops?
Let's see, Poopy.
Well, I mean, cops are scary, but they don't have creepy dinosaur feet like emus have. I don't like their creepy dinosaur feet. Put them on a cop, and that would be the ultimate terror.
Yeah.
Oh, Poopy saw the link, and they're going to join. I'm sorry. I don't remember. I'm gonna check because Poopy is going to jump in. Of course, if someone has to go, just go. But it would be great to have Poopy here.
COVID is not better here at all. It's like it's worse, and the government's like, nah, we're not gonna do shit because you know the kids economy, blah blah blah. And like, sure, very good excuses not to engender people's life, and the medical sector is so underwhelmed, and because it is France, we had like lots of demos and stuff, especially for the nurses and hospital workers to have more pay and stuff, and they were like beaten up by the cops and said, no, you don't get nothing. But then Oh, thank you for all the medical workers who do so much for COVID. Like, yeah, you know, bunch of hypocrites. We all know. Just we don't trust you. We don't like you.
My net doesn't want to work and doesn't want to open Discord well, so I put and tell me my computer is not doesn't really. Oh, I'm very sorry. I apologize to Poopy because I didn't. I forgot their pronouns, so sorry. Yay! So now we are also in the American time zone.
You're on mute. You're on mute.
You're muted. Wait. I unmute you.
Wait, I'm muted.
Oh, okay. You have.
I was saying it's already 9 a.m. here, like not still, but kind of. And I did wake up at 6 a.m. And I think maybe I should wake up, but I literally was very tired. And I woke up because I literally dreamt about International Asexuality Day. Like I'm past the point of return right now.
You can close the event. That was our thinking.
Yes.
Oh, but before you do, I should say one thing, which is that you still have time to enter the Australian event, which is the Asexual Creative and Expressive Submissions Contest. We don't have any international entries to the art section, I think it is. And we don't have any coloring in entries, so those fields are wide open.
We do have about for those. We do have 7 entries for one of the Australian ones and 8 for the other. There's 2 written ones, I think, 2 international written ones. But other than that, there is nothing for the other 2 categories. So, like, by all means, and you don't have to be a professional anything, because we're looking at it from how it relates to the tenets of IAD. So our the ACES that we came up with, because ACE puns are terrible. But yeah, so as long as it's got something to do with asexuality and it taps into at least one of those 2, the advocacy, my brain is retarded, advocacy, celebration, education, and solidarity, then it's fine by us, because I'm organising the judging. Kate came up with the idea. Kate came up with the wrong way, pointing that way. Kate came up with the idea. I'm organising the judging. I've got 4 people, including myself, judging so far, and I'm still just Kate. I did ask Kate, but she's been busy and frantic, and I'm thinking we may all get 1 or more people on it, but depends how many entries we get. But that's open till the 11th on your time zone, not Australian, your time zone. So we're not going to crack the shits if you put it in and it's the 12th in Australia, because we're reasonable.
And
well, most of the time.
I wasn't checking that closely, to be honest. So
to be honest, yeah.
The international field is wide open and we want to see entries, and I want to have a very shiny book. So please get them in.
And honestly, if you put it in after the 11th, like a day, it probably isn't going to make a tiny bit of difference, because we're not going to judge it straight away anyway. It just, we needed to give a date. So that was the date we came up with, or Kate came up with. So yeah, please enter. I need more entries to judge. And now Poopy, now Poopy can close.
I'm gonna close this. Okay. I think I'm gonna submit a coloring entry for your contest. I still have to download the sheets and paint it. I think it's gonna help me relax after all this madness. But yeah, if I have to close this, well, I hope everyone who's been watching had a great time learning more about our community all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. We still have some events going on, so stay tuned to the International Asexuality Day social media. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. I'll just throw a tweet right now after this is over, reminding you all where you can find us. I'll try to do it in as many languages as I can. I've only been doing like Spanish, English, French, Italian, and Portuguese because like that's why I understand. So apologies to everyone else. But yeah, thank you guys for inviting me last minute. I really hope next year I can join more events. Like it's been madness organizing everything. So.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, lovely ACE folk.
Bye.
It's been awesome. We've had a great